Yo, what's going on, guys? This is Anthony with themovieblog.com, and I'm back here with another video. This time, we're finally at the conclusion of our trilogy of videos giving us the comic book origin of Midnight Man. In our last video, it was revealed that Midnight Man had been working with Bushman for revenge and to torture the life of Moon Knight. What's interesting is that Bushman starts talking smack in this final issue to Moon Knight. He starts monologuing about how he remembers Mark before this whole Moon Knight deal. And in his own twisted way, he feels responsible for Mark's transformation into Moon Knight. And it's kind of not wrong, as he's absolutely the catalyst that led to Mark becoming Moon Knight and ending up in the service of Khonshu. Now, if you haven't realized it yet, let me tell you this. Mark's psyche is pretty fragile, and he's kind of struggling with all of his identities and anchoring his sense of self. The statue of Khonshu was a totem for Mark and helped him ground his sense of self throughout his adventures. Bushman reminds Mark that his statue is destroyed, and it's sitting at the bottom of this cavern that's now rapidly filling with sewer water. This is a devastating moment to Mark, and the sight of his moon god broken shatters him. It sinks in that his totem is gone. Bushman makes his escape while Mark is in this catatonic state, and it takes the combined effort of an alarmed and awakened Midnight Man and a terrified butler pleading with Moon Knight to help them escape from this cave that's going to kill them because it's filling with water. Moon Knight manages to shake off the confusion for a moment and decides to try to investigate a way to escape out of this situation. He finds a loose brick in the wall and uses one of his crescent-shaped blades to pry the brick loose. He then uses his strength to kick a hole open large enough for them to use as an escape through the bottom of the cave. Midnight Man seizes the opportunity and is the first one through the exit. Moon Knight and his butler soon follow and are pulled out of the cavern due to the rushing water, but Moon Knight uses what little strength he has left to try to reach the statue of Khonshu. Moon Knight is only able to retrieve the head of his precious statue of Khonshu before being forced out of the cavern due to the overwhelming force and pressure of all of this water rushing out of the cavern through the small hole that Moon Knight made. Now, what happens next is probably the biggest example of the fragility of Moon Knight's mental health. Moon Knight and his butler are able to make their way to shore, but as soon as Moon Knight is on land, he begins to doubt his self-worth. The destruction of his statue of Khonshu puts Mark in a mind state where he fully disassociates himself from all of his identities and instead refers to himself as a nobody. Mark walks off and goes missing for days. His friends and family frantically search for him, and they finally find him living in a park as a vagrant talking to himself. This is a really difficult time for Mark, and although he's surrounded by friends and loved ones who encourage him to move forward, he doesn't have the self-confidence without the statue of Khonshu. It's at that time that Marlene reveals that the statue that Midnight Man and Bushman stole and destroyed was actually a fake. Marlene kept a fake on display while the real statue was secretly hidden in another location. She said she did this as a security measure to protect the original, and the replica was just used as a display. Mark sees the statue and begins to regain his confidence. His friends and loved ones are quick to point out that Mark has been able to do everything he's accomplished even after the replica was destroyed, and they try to convince him that his actions and abilities are derived from his own self and his own abilities. Mark claims he's beginning to understand, but you can never be sure with the creative ways that the artists and writers like to frame the statue of Khonshu into the shots. It's always as if the statue is overlooking what's happening. After some time, Moon Knight decides to regain his confidence and resume his investigation into the location of Bushman, who had orchestrated a crime wave while Moon Knight had been absent for all these days. Moon Knight doesn't waste any time and is as flashy as ever by pulling up on Bushman in a new and improved Moon Knight themed helicopter. This is a new helicopter that Frenchie had been working on for the past few issues, and it is pretty flashy. I gotta admit, it's an impressive looking helicopter. Bushman attempts to escape when he sees this helicopter and darts off for a nearby car. He drives off to a nearby botanical garden, and after crashing his car, he runs inside into the garden to kind of make his final stand against Moon Knight. Moon Knight chases him there, and it's at this time Moon Knight and Bushman clash once again and engage in a fight. Now, Bushman initially gets the upper hand. Bushman is a pretty massive dude, and he's an experienced soldier, and he was able to take down Mark before in a one-on-one fight. Moon Knight, however, has his full confidence restored and is able to overpower Bushman for the first time in a satisfying win. What's interesting is after Bushman is taken in by the authorities, there's a bit of an epilogue here where Mark is back in his Stephen Grant persona, talking to Marlene and is talking about everything that had happened while studying the statue of Khonshu. Mark asks Marlene to tell him the truth. Was the shattered statue the replica, and was this the real one? Or did Marlene have a replica made after the original was destroyed? Marlene states that this is the original and tells Stephen/Mark that he can have the statue carbon dated if he'd like. He wisely declined, stating he'd rather not know. This wraps up the story on this adventure. Anyway, that's the entire Midnight Man trilogy. Thank you for sticking with me throughout all of these videos for the full comic book origin of the character. As usual, if you're new here and you like these videos, do me a favor. Please hit that like button and subscribe. Otherwise, I'm gonna check you guys later. Peace.